Whether you're a musician, a content creator, a public speaker, or just feeling the call to share your story with others, finding your voice is one of those things that can seem like it only happens for a rare few. Hi there, I'm Fola and welcome to the channel where we talk all things magic, the occult, the esoteric, and shamanic. And in this video, I will share with you that finding your voice, however daunting that it may seem, is actually possible, and it's all a part of the spiritual journey. So let's start with a bit of a story. Someone asked me the other day if I have always been a confident speaker, and my answer was simply no. I grew up as a pretty quiet kid. And as I got older, I started having a lot of throat issues, laryngitis, especially in university. And I feel like every month I got sick with some type of sore throat issue. And then I joined the workforce. I didn't really speak up there either. I was not feeling competent. And even when I worked with the crisis team with clients, the police, it's like I was too scared to speak my needs. But this all changed when I had a Reiki session. This was the beginning of my recognizing I had some work to do with my speaking a truth, my truth. And it took time. A divorce, leaving my job as a psych nurse, really starting to shift my life in a new direction. But fast forward to today, I feel rather proud of everything I've accomplished, and I've been creating content on YouTube and other platforms for the past 5 or so years, and in the last 2 years, I've been stepping into the world of sharing my voice through song. I still have a long way to go, but I feel like the new Fola is so different from where she started. So why might you not be speaking your truth? Question for you to ponder. Sometimes though, a lot of these things may be tied to our fears of judgment and criticism from our family, from our social programming, from even things we've experienced in past lives. You know, we want to belong, so speaking out, speaking our truth may not always feel safe. Another reason might be that you don't really have the proper outlet. And this is where it's important to start experimenting. Where are some places you're feeling called to explore? Maybe you want to go sing at an open mic. Maybe you want to just start sharing your voice through stories, online, writing, videos, whatever it might be. You just need to select a topic that you enjoy. You may also lack confidence. You start off as a child, of course, and you're meant to develop into the strong soul that you actually truly are. And this is part of the journey. But starting off, this may leave you feeling that level of incompetence or just anxious. And yes, some people have a knack for public speaking, sharing their voice, but let's be honest, that's like a really rare few. It's about gaining confidence and tapping into yourself. So along with this lack of confidence, you may have a lack of self-identity. This was a big one for me. And I was so used to people pleasing that I didn't really think for myself. Codependent much? I got married because my parents were pushing me in that direction, and I felt pressure from the people in my life, even though this internal voice told me to take things slow. I was not sure what I believed, so I just held my thoughts and kept them to myself and allowed others to speak for me. This lack of self-worth, my voice not being worthy of being heard, that was a huge story in my life. And that might be something you're holding on to as well. So a question I have for you is, what self-perceived reasons may be holding you from thinking that you can share your voice? Let me know in the comments what comes up when you hear that question. When we name our experiences, we remove the shame and we gain a new sense of ownership and power. So how can you start to find your voice? That's kind of why you came here, isn't it? First off, I would say to let go of the end goal. Maybe you see yourself singing in front of thousands of people, or hosting a TED Talk, or maybe even having a difficult conversation with that one person who's just been walking over you and over you for so many years. Whatever it is, you have to detach yourself from the expectations of how your voice has to look or sound or how you have to show up. When you do this, magical things start to unfold. I personally didn't think I'd be singing in front of others, but as I started to let go of this need for my voice to be in any particular way, it just started to open more and more doors and pushed me to new levels. But this doesn't mean to stop dreaming or holding on to that vision that may be there, coming from somewhere. The next step really is to do your work, the healing work. Whether it's energy healing like Reiki, ancestral or shamanic healing, plant medicine, magic ritual, all of this taps you into the most important part of you, your intuition, the small voice, or your holy guardian angel. I have some rituals here you can access through my shop, such as a ritual for belonging, which I think is really important because oftentimes when we want to share our voice, it's because we want to belong. You can find that through the link in the description below. Another thing you might want to check out is ancestral healing, because oftentimes we're carrying or walking the energy out from our ancestors, and it's just the same story we're telling ourselves that have been passed down from generation to generation. Next would be to put yourself out there. Find the places, experiment, as I mentioned before. It could be even as simple as asking the universe, how can I use my voice today? Toastmasters can also work, you guys. So practice, experiment, start that podcast, go and host that event and share your story. And whenever you feel scared, regulate. Retreat if it's really absolutely not safe, but most of the time it is, and it's just your nervous system attempting to go into old patterns. So breathing and tuning into where you're at can really help you. And there's also the big part, which I think we don't do enough of, is celebrating our wins. So review all those times, all those accomplishments that you've had with speaking or sharing your truth. Review the difficult times and have a sense of compassion and have a willingness to learn. But most importantly, have fun. No one's an expert at this. Even some of the greatest public speakers and actors, they share how they struggle when they initially go on stage. And for me, I just finished playing 2 gigs these last 2 months. And with that, I've been invited to an upcoming show that's definitely more than I expected when I began this journey singing. It's going to be a blast, and it's only the beginning. The energy of excitement is easily mistaken for anxiety. So do your best to reframe, again, regulating the nervous system, and see all of this as a learning opportunity. If you'd like support with tapping into your personal power, I invite you to join us in the membership this August, as we will be connecting to the power of the sun, that glorious solar energy, to ignite our solar plexus and to boost our confidence and manifest the life of our dreams. In the membership, I offer different rituals, energy healings that help you alchemize your shit into gold. So your first step is really just hit join, and I hope to see you in the community. And with that, what's your biggest takeaway from this video? Let me know in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another video real soon.